Take a look at this man. Take a good look at him and tell me, does he look like he's a skeleton to you guys? Believe it or not, Jonah here is in fact a skeleton. Not just any skeleton, but a skeleton lord. Jonah is the shopkeeper at the Wild Treasures store. He sells a few items at a time, but they go quickly, he says. Jonah seems to be a very lonely man, with not much to do all day. He occasionally talks about his mother. He is happy to become friends with anyone. There doesn't seem to be anything weird about him, right? Well, on the other side of the sea post, Emmerich, the Hunter's Call representative, is suspicious of Jonah. He has wild claims of different things that Jonah has done. He says that Jonah is a skeleton lord and will take over the world with his undead army. He also says that Jonah only sleeps for less than an hour a day. Another strange claim is that Emmerich's name is actually Jack. The last claim that Emmerich makes is that he ruined his marriage by poisoning her soul with his magic. Let's go over these claims. The easiest claim to go over is that Emmerich's name is Jack. Obviously, his name is Emmerich, so that's just false, right? Well, according to the Hunter's Call family tree, Emmerich married into the family rather than being named similarly to all of his family members. Why would Emmerich's name be that before he even got married? That would just be an odd coincidence. Merrick's wife Sarek and her sister Afric, who also joined the family through marriage, suspiciously have the same naming scheme? That's completely ridiculous to believe. I am sure that Jack was Emmerich's original name before he joined the family. Another claim is that the Jonah conspiracy ruined Emmerich's marriage. Emmerich's ex-wife, Zarek, says, "I've wasted my time. I've wasted the best years of my life with that Emmerich. Him and his obsession with those ridiculous tall tales. His latest is that a man at the sea post is a skeleton lord in disguise. Well, that did it for me. I packed up my chest and I said goodbye." This quote pretty clearly explains the situation. Emmerich is supposedly obsessed with Jonah being a skeleton lord, rather than on his marriage. So while Jonah did ruin the marriage, it was more Emmerich's obsession with the situation. We know from many instances, skeleton lords can have magic abilities. There are many different abilities that the skeleton's lord have shown before, like the Ashen Lord's breathing fire, and plenty of other things. Jonah obviously hasn't shown any supernatural abilities, right? Another claim is that Jonah only sleeps for less than an hour of the day. Skeletons don't have biological functions, of course, so why would they ever need to sleep? He would be able to stay awake forever, since he doesn't even get tired. That makes perfect sense to me. The final claim is that Jonah is a skeleton lord, and will take over the world with his undead army. If you know anything about biology, you would know that inside of every person, there is a full skeleton. Based on that, we can conclude that Jonah has a skeleton inside of him, which is the first step to becoming a skeleton lord. Next, he needs a reason to become one, and through his dialogue, we see that he talks about his mom. According to him, his mother tells him that he wouldn't make any friends, and it's probably best that he lives on a sea post. While I'm not quite sure why she says that, it's quite clear that she is disappointed in her son. Skeleton lords are formed after plenty of different instances, like Rook from the Tall Tale Wild Rose, who transformed after being obsessed with George. Ashen Lords transform because of their inner rage. It makes perfect sense that Jonah would transform because of the doubts put into his head by his mother. Another thing that I've noticed is Jonah's hat. This hat is very clearly similar to Captain Flameheart's hat, a well-known skeleton. The last thing that is important to understand is Jonah's appearance. He's clearly human, right? He doesn't show any bones like Tasha did when she was turning into a skeleton lord. Well, Emmerich mentioned skeleton magic, and many different skeletons have different abilities. So what makes it different if Jonah has appearance abilities? While the mimic dart has only been out for a little while, Jonah has probably mastered this magic for many years. If that's not why, there are plenty of different explanations for his appearance. Obviously, Emmerich is not delusional. His name used to be Jack. Jonah only sleeps for 1 hour a day. The conspiracy ruined his marriage, and Jonah is a skeleton lord. That's what I would say, if the evidence wasn't so limited. Obviously, Emmerich's name is suspicious, and I'm confident that Jack used to be his original name. The conspiracy ruining his marriage is also obvious. But what about the other claims? Well, the claim about Jonah only sleeping for an hour a day is a bit weird. Emmerich watches Jonah sleep for only about an hour, which means Emmerich is getting no sleep every night. It is ridiculous to think that Emmerich is not sleeping during the time that Jonah is also sleeping, and Jonah only sleeps for a bit longer than Emmerich every night. So the final claim about him being a skeleton lord? Well, I just don't think so. The only evidence is that he doesn't sleep, and that's not true. I think it's safe to say that Emmerich was just wrong about Jonah. Until we get more evidence, we won't know for sure. So what was the incident that Jonah mentioned on Daggertooth Outpost?